This is Optimal Work Daily on designing the life you want to live by Jeff Goins of Goinswriter.com. What's happened to you is rare, my friend Mark told me over the phone one December afternoon. It was late in the day, but the weather was still warm, which isn't uncommon for Nashville that time of year. I was on one of my walks, talking to an elder who had mentored me through some of life's toughest moments. This was an important decision. I was about to decide whether or not I would become a full-time writer. Before you step off a cliff. At first, Mark thought he needed to talk me off a ledge. You know, he said, there are times in life when you need to pursue money and times when you don't. I remember working 4 jobs at one point just to make ends meet. I guess, I said, I'm worried about greed. The past year had been a blur. I'd self-published an ebook, traditionally published a trade paperback book, sold tens of thousands of copies, launched an online course teaching other writers, and tripled my income. Oh yeah, and my wife and I had our first kid. It had been a crazy year, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of it. All my friends were telling me to quit my marketing job at a nonprofit, but I wasn't sure. That's why I was talking to Mark. I don't know, Jeff, my 50-something friend told me. You need to be careful with money. It can grab a hold of you and not let go. I wouldn't do it for the money. We were talking about quitting my job. We were talking about chasing my dream. We were talking about change, and it was terrifying. Well, it's not about that, I said out loud for the first time. I mean, I like my job, but I don't know. The passion is there, the money is there, the family support is there. I breathed deep into the phone as I began to walk up a hill, rounding the first revolution of my block. Hang on, Mark said. You know, I thought we were talking about one thing, but now I realized it's something else. Look, what's happened to you is rare. Nobody saw it coming. I know you, and I didn't see it coming. You need to consider the possibility that not doing this might be an act of disobedience to God. This might be your calling. I hadn't considered that. The whole time I had been focused on what I might lose if I chased my dream, if I pursued my passion for writing and quit my job. Would my boss be disappointed in me? Would I fail? Was all the success so far just dumb luck that would eventually wear out? I never considered what might not happen, what I might lose, if I didn't at least try. Making the leap. 3 weeks later, I met my boss, Seth, in Atlanta and told him it was time for me to move on. My only hesitation, I told him, was the fear that I might disappoint him. I'm not disappointed, he said. I'm proud. I've been waiting for this conversation. I think it's time. 3 months later, I left my position and began a whole new career that I never could have imagined only a few years before. Since then, I've taught thousands of students in an online course, published 4 books, one of which was a bestseller, and spoken to tens of thousands of people. My award-winning blog is read by millions of people every year. Not only is this surreal, it's a surprise. But I've come to find, after talking to hundreds of others who have found their calling, discovering your purpose in life often is. Listen to your life. Author and activist Parker Palmer wrote in his fantastic book on vocation, Let Your Life Speak, quote, "Before I can tell my life what I want to do with it, I must listen to my life telling me who I am." End quote. When we consider whether we ought to stay at this job or stick with this career track just a little longer, I think we would do well to ignore the traditional advice of following your passion. Passion, if you're not careful, can get you into serious trouble. Not only that, it can lead to all kinds of temporary thrills that have no long-term satisfaction or success. A wiser strategy is to heed the counsel of Parker Palmer, to listen to your life. Look past your current situation and whether you like it or not. Dig deep into who you really are, and then ask yourself, is what I'm doing for a living a reflection of my identity or a distraction from it? More dangerous than failure. So many of us hide from our true selves and settle for what Trappist monk Thomas Merton calls the false self. This, he says, is a shadow of the real thing. Like a shadow, it may appear authentic, even resemble the same shape of our true self, but in the end, it's just a mirage, and we are in real danger of living through the false self. Because after a while, Merton says, we begin to believe it's the real thing. The most dangerous thing you can do in this life is succeed at the wrong thing, to win accolades and affirmations of something you know you are not. Because when that happens, you're stuck. What can you do but disappoint everyone and risk failure to become your true self? And yet, if we find ourselves in this situation, that is exactly what we must do. You just listened to the post titled, "On Designing the Life You Want to Live," by Jeff Goins of Goinswriter.com. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We're all marveled at how quickly kids learn and that sense of wonderment they have while doing it. But as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. Well, if there's something you've been wanting to learn, know that therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder, because your back-to-school era can come at any age. And make no mistake, therapy is for everyone. Whether or not you've been through significant trauma, therapy can be a great tool for setting boundaries, learning new skills, and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/workdaily today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/workdaily. We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it filters out those incompatible applicants. So when you're hiring, the process is much faster, and you only have to consider applicants that are already likely to be a great fit. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/startup. So just go to Indeed.com/startup right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/startup. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Thank you to Jeff for giving us permission to narrate from his blog, and please come visit his site, which I have linked in this episode's description and at oldpodcast.com as well. He is a super popular writer, the best-selling author of 5 books, including The Art of Work and Real Artists Don't Starve. On his site, you can hear his thoughts on writing, life, and creative work, so you'll hear him narrated across a few of our shows. And if you're looking to share your work but afraid of becoming the starving artist, his site is for you. Lots of great advice there. So come check it out at Goinswriter.com. That's Goins writer.com. And thanks again to Jeff for letting us share his work with you. Okay, I think that does it for today. I will be back again tomorrow as usual, so I'll see you there in the Wednesday show where your optimal life awaits.